Hey guys, welcome to this week's helpful hint. Jase Hintz here. I'm gonna give you guys a quick pointer for the week. Last week, if you recall, I was talking about your feet and how you need to stagger them and you need to have them evenly weighted. This week we're gonna move up to your base and we're gonna be talking about how when you shoot, you need to bend at your base, not at your arm. Because if you bend at your arm, your ups and downs are gonna be very fluctuating depending on how your muscles are and how your bow's aligned, and your back elbow is not gonna be lined up anymore and this and that. But we're gonna talk about your waist, and we're gonna talk about how having your bow level and using the level under your sight if you have one, or even just drawing back and checking your up and down to make sure that your bow's level, and how it will affect your shot in the wind, and also when it's not windy by standing in a crooked tree stand, or how it'll make you tilt left or right, and if you are tilting, you're gonna shoot left or right, depending which way you're tilting. First off, I'm gonna show you guys when you pull back out of a tree stand especially, and sometimes when you're shooting in your yard on hills, any hill shot's gonna be a lot different for you because you're gonna wanna, right away when you pull back, you're gonna be aiming down with your arm. You don't wanna drop your arm down, because if you do, you're gonna be, like I said earlier, your muscles are all gonna be holding yourself down. You're gonna be fighting it up and down. 90% of the time you're gonna hit high if you're going down. If you're going up, you're gonna hit low because you're gonna drop out. So when you pull back, you need to bend at your waist. And if you bend at your waist, your whole arm, as you can see, my back and my front, will move together in one fluid motion, and you'll be able to shoot the same shot you made on a flat surface as you will on a hill, out of a tree stand, up a hill, depending where your game is that you're going for. The next thing that will also be very key is when you're standing in your tree stand and say you pull back and you let come down on the animal, if you tilt your bow left or right, depending if your tree stand's tilting or if you're tilting naturally, or if you're trying to reach around a tree so you get that good shot, if you're not using your level, you're gonna be shooting left or right. Another good example of when this comes into huge play is if it's windy out. I shot college and we were out in Texas A&M, and they had about, I'd say somewhere between 8 to 15 mile an hour winds, and it was a solid breeze. And I ended up losing to the guy that won it, and I asked him how he got better. And these are little tips that I picked up along the way, and he simply told me, when you're looking at your level, if you move your bubble one line over in this big breeze, it'll make you shoot exactly where you're aiming, and you can still aim right on and not worry about that wind. So this is something that you need to practice, like in your backyard or by yourself. And when you do this, even if there's no wind, you can aim right on, cant your bow a little bit. If the wind's blowing from right to left, you would cant your top cam into the wind. No matter which way it's blowing, your top cam goes into the wind. You don't need to go too far, just to the first line on your level. And if you do that right away, you can shoot when it's not windy out, and you'll be able to tell. If you're at 20 yards, you'll even hit, an inch off one way or the other. Your up and downs will be very similar, but that little lean in your cam will make a huge difference. So what I'm trying to tell you guys is, when you're practicing, first of all, if it comes down to you're shooting out of a tree stand, it's good to practice out of one. Bend at your waist, straight down or up, depending where your shot comes from. Second thing, check your level. Don't stare at it, just give it a quick glance. If you're way off, bury it into the side. Make sure you quick switch it back so you're nice and level, and you'll be able to make that perfect shot. Play in the wind a little bit if you have wind wherever you are, because 90% of the time when you're hunting, there's going to be wind. First thing you think about when you go hunting is, which way is the wind blowing? If it's not blowing straight at you or straight away from you, you're going to have a side wind. You need to calculate it a little bit. You don't have to go crazy and cant all the way into it, because you're going to have a bad shot either way. So little thing, think about those two and your base together from last week. You're going to have your lower body already all put together almost. You'll be ready to go. Seth, why you got to jump this river here?
Well, I went for the real life techno hunt challenge and just shot right over a squirrel. And I didn't realize that this gigantic creek was between me and the squirrel. It's not very gigantic, but it's very slippery. And now I have to attempt to cross it.
Good luck.
Yeah, thank you. Probably gonna get wet, possibly slip. Oh, it's not gonna go well. I'm gonna call it right now. Not as bad as I thought it would be. That's why you look for trees on a steady base, just like last week's lesson.